just so we get to know each other, since I know this is the first time we're meeting, I just would like to go around the room and have everybody introduce themselves. Yeah.
I'm second, well, Delores, next to the oldest.
Okay.
I'm Brandon Dean. Those.
Yeah, I see that.
I'm sure.
Oh, I ain't see him. He's short, sitting over there.
I know Keisha right there.
Sure.
Oh, that's Keisha right
And
there.
her grandson.
I'm her
there.
grandson.
Grandson, okay,
I'm daughter.
I'm Keisha, her granddaughter.
okay.
That's all this.
Okay.
Paul.
Son-in-law.
Okay.
I'm Larry, her son.
And I'm Tanisha, her granddaughter.
Nice to meet everybody. I know that neurosurgery met with Paul and I don't know his name, Keisha, to discuss the scan and what had happened. And I guess maybe if you could just say what your understanding of what is going on at this time.
Just
based on
because
that.
the left side of her brain is bleeding, and like based from what I understood, they don't think that she's gonna actually wake up. And if she was to wake up, everything, she wouldn't have a normal life again. She would basically be independent. Somebody that's gonna have to need and take care of her 24 hours.
Is that kind of what you understood as well, Keisha? Okay. So yeah, it sounds like, she was taking this aspirin and Plavix for her heart. And not sure if it was her blood pressure, we still don't know the actual mechanism.
In her heart.
Right, but in terms of her brain, we don't know if it was maybe a stroke or something that caused the bleeding or a vessel that ruptured, because there's so much blood there right now, we can't see exactly what caused it, but we do know that it's a large bleed. And so, and the area that it bled, it's an area where you need it for understanding speech, being able to understand the world and things of that nature. She also has a lot of swelling, which I'm sure neurosurgery talked to you about the risk of surgery and all of that. And I don't know if you've updated everybody on that.
No.
Okay. And obviously it's up to your discretion as well, so.
But the risk of having surgery is high. So she trying to save her will actually kill her. So I feel like, I feel like everybody else could feel the same way, do feel the same way, don't do the surgery. Because it's like, isn't it like an 80% chance or higher that she would die?
So I don't know what the percentages are, because I'm not a surgeon and I don't do the surgeries, but what I can tell you is what happens in the intensive care side of it, or what is known as the medical management part of it, because we manage it as best as we can, but obviously surgery would be the one that would actually decompress and open and things of that nature. So the purpose of this meeting is to sort of give you an idea of what's going on, and give you also an idea of what happens in ICU that you can expect from us, and to ultimately get a better understanding of what her needs are and what sort of match them with our how we're going to treat her based on, because again, like I told you in the room, your family, you knew her the best, you knew what she wanted, you knew how active she was in her life, what she'd like to do, what she didn't like to do. And so it kind of guides our management for her as well. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. So, like I said, she did have a pretty significant injury. I could pull up the image for everybody, but it's up to you guys.
We saw it. We saw the big.
You did see it?
Yeah.
Okay, there was a lot of swelling and a lot of pressure on her brainstem. So you have I don't know if you've all seen a brain, but you have the stem, and that's where all the primitive reflexes are. So things that you don't think about, like your heart rate, your breathing, your hormones and things of that nature, those are all automatic. And then you have the cortex, which is what the mushroom that sits kind of on top, and that's more of like your ability to understand, control things, and tell your arm to move and it moves and all of that, higher function stuff. So there's a lot, so on her brain on that left side, that bleeding has, it bled, which caused it, to push against the other side, and eventually.
Still bleeding?
So we don't know, but there is a lot of blood there, and so, if her exam changes, I mean, it's either swelling or blood, but at this point, it looks like the blood is actually stopped. The scan from the other hospital looks the same as the one here, and so we could say that it's not bleeding anymore. But there is a lot of swelling that's pushed it to the other side, making that other side at risk for having a stroke, or just basically a stroke, because it pushes on the arteries that are feeding the brain, and those arteries get smashed and it cuts the supply off to the rest of the brain, causing it to stroke. Your brain is pretty sensitive. It only allows maybe like 5 to 10 seconds without oxygen, and then the nerves start to die.
So at this point, could she actually have a stroke right now while she's
Yeah.
Because she can have a stroke right now because of the pressure on her brain. So the surgery would alleviate the pressure
Right.
from the brain,
Mm-hmm.
But it's the risk of
but it's the risk of opening it up
after the scan.
because you guys don't actually really know if it stopped bleeding completely. You
Mhm.
just can't tell how severe the damage is because of the blood.
Right, and relieving that pressure can
But
cause it to
could be-
bleed.
is it
Even more,
possible that
right.
It could be dry blood.
So no, so it's
No,
actual
it's
brain,
not.
it's a clot,
No, it's a clot.
and it
Clot,
doesn't
clot.
dry out.
It don't
It
dry
just,
out.
over years, it kind of
It
just
grows.
shrivels up, and then it goes away, the body reabsorbs it, but it just leaves like a hole in the brain. But it never dries like a
Yeah,
scab would
it
and
don't
fall
dry.
off. It would if it were outside, but it's inside in a closed space with no air. Yeah. So like she was saying, that's what the surgery would do. Because the surgery is risky, the only thing that we have left to do is medically manage her. And that's what we're doing right now. We're doing everything that we can to make sure that, her numbers look good, that there's only a certain amount of things that we can do to help somebody's brain shrink a little bit so that it provides more space. Even though we're doing all of that, she still has a lot of swelling and a lot of shift, and she could stroke, like she was saying, because of that. So,
But it's only been a few hours, so. since
yeah, it's
this
been a
happened.
few hours, but like I said, your brain only needs
It's
5
only-
to 10
yeah.
seconds without oxygen, and it dies. So what I'm saying is that throughout the next few days, with managing her, and trying to prevent a stroke, if she does stroke, she could end up potentially progressing to brain death because of all of the swelling. And that's when we would approach you guys again with the, letting you know that this has progressed and this is what we're gonna do. But that, we're not there yet by any means.
So
Okay?
right now she's on medication to help alleviate the swelling in her brain.
Right, yeah. Once that's optimized, that's optimized,
Right.
So after you optimize someone's medical management, there's really nowhere to go. We have our hands tied behind our backs and we say, what does your mother want? We can continue to do everything as much as we can, or we can, if her heart were to stop, we could say, well, her heart is stopped and this is a way of nature sort of taking its course and not doing chest compressions and all of that.
No,
And
you're
then
gonna
there's,
do chest compressions, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna continue our.
yeah, I'm not asking you to make a decision right now, but I'm giving you what sort of
What
bigger
if-
picture of the
Yeah,
scenario.
the what if.
Because I want you to be ready, because like I said, because surgery is not an option and there's so much swelling and so much at-risk, high value territory in your brain that is at risk for stroke, the
So hypothetically, if the swelling was to go down over
The swelling
time,
will not go down probably within the next, it's only gonna get worse. Today's day 1, projected time is probably 3 days.
Because without it, imagine your computer keyboard getting wet. And like say your phone get wet in the water. Your phone drop the water, it get wet. The memory start to thing. First the screen go, and everything goes, so your phone go. So right now, think of that, her brain. So right now, because there's so much internal bleeding on it, the left side of her brain can't function, so her motor skills are incapacitated. So the more she sit like that, the higher her chances are of not being hit, because at some point it just go, it
But if she
explode.
take the surgery, she might die.
I understand that, but that's something that we got to
Surgery
be
is
prepared
taken
for.
off, yeah.
It's so
it's
right,
not on
so
the
it's not
table.
even an option at this point for them to do surgery.
But
So-
But what I'm saying
giving
is-
her now is shrinking the floor, I mean,
brain.
it's shrinking the brain. I mean, not the brain, but the blood shrinking, you said it was
It is
shrinking.
the brain,
Oh, the
yeah, the
pressure.
cells get dehydrated and the brain shrinks.
So why would it only just get worse? Why, just like her brain starts swelling,
Uh-huh.
and what if it starts going down? And when it starts going down, can she go in and do surgery?
So think of it like this,
I'm not
you hit
saying
your
something
nails.
that's relevant and
You-
just constantly
I
swollen.
had 3 months ago, I had an injury to my head. I fell and I hit my head, and I lost eyesight in my eye. Because my brain had swelled, touched on my optical nerve, but it only hit and started pressing on my optical nerve, which took my eyesight away. So, every week I had to go to Wellman and look at check my pressure, see if it's brain or so that took 3 months. And remember, I didn't have bleeding and all that. So your brain is not like your finger. It's not like no other organ. It must have room because it'll start pressing. It'll swell up like a balloon, and then it start pressing on the skull. It starts pressing and killing it off. So then once the brain starts, it starts pressing, then you're gonna keep on having little TIA. Then she's gonna stroke out. Eventually, she's just gonna stroke out from one stroke to the next, where your whole brain is dead. And your brain is your life. It's not your heart, it's your brain.
And everything.
Yeah, it's not your heart. People always think it's your heart, but
Her brain
it's,
can itch, she could actually.
no, you
get
said,
up.
what if? That's what you said. I didn't say that she couldn't get up, but you said, what if? And I was telling you how the brain
So in
works.
3 days, what you were saying about,
I don't wanna give you an
She
exact
can't give you a
number.
time. She
Yeah.
can't give you a
I
time.
can't give you an exact
you just said
number.
3 days.
She can't give you a time.
That's projected, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is think of it like, I don't know, you hit your thumb or something, right? Initially, it doesn't swell right away, but it gets worse before it gets better, is what my point was. And like she was saying, your brain, your head has 3 things inside of it. It has the cerebrospinal fluid, it has the arteries that provide, oxygen, blood to the brain, and then it has the brain tissue. And then it's enclosed in this box where if it doesn't, that can't expand, okay? So if your brain swells, 2 things have to give, either blood or cerebrospinal fluid, right? So they can make more room. But those 2 things are not gonna give. And if you give off, and if you squeeze off the arteries to provide more room, you just take away the oxygen for your brain, right? So it's a very scary situation, and I can understand what you're thinking because I hear it a lot, and that's why I'm trying to explain it to you, because we're doing everything that we can, but I want you to know that this is what, as from the medical side, this is what we're thinking and what we're dealing with, and I want you to be able to understand that, so that if something were to